Okay, good evening, Rabbi. We're going to discuss tonight about the Purim holiday, Habanin L'Tovah, the impending holiday coming up, B'ezrat Hashem. First of all, we have to talk about Tanit Ester a little bit, right? Regarding the fast that we have coming up. The fast is going to be on Monday, Tanit Ester. This fast, the Chazal say, is the lightest of the fast, the lightest of all of them. Why is it called light? Because it's a minhag. It's not really like an obligation so much. It was something which was instituted as a minhag, as a custom. Why did they institute this? What's the reason why? Because this was the time that Haman and Rasha had the plans to exterminate the Jewish people in Chodesh Adar, the month of Adar. So therefore they made the fast in Adar, Yud Gimel Adar, exactly that's the time that he wanted to exterminate them. And what's the reason why? Because he was Mapil Pur, right? He had a goral. He had like, that's why they call it Purim, right? The holiday Purim. Why Purim? What's the meaning of this holiday? It means goral, like a lot. He drew a lottery to see what was the best time to kill the Jewish people, to exterminate the Jewish people. This was the predecessor of Hitler, same concept, same idea. So what happened was that he realized that this was the best time. So according to that, he realized that this is the best time. We fast in order to ward off that effect. This is the idea. We fast in order to take away the kitrug, the accusations which are against the Jewish people at that time. There is some kind of accusation there. It comes back every year because this thing comes back every year. All the bechinot, all the qualities that we have in all the holidays, they recur every year at the same time, over and over and over again. There are good things, there are bad things, there are all kinds of dangers, there's all kinds of sakanot, all kinds of issues that need to be dealt with. So we act according to ward off these things. And this is the reason why we fast on Yud Gimel Adar, right before Purim, in order to ward off the accusation which comes on that time, like Haman did, as we said. That's the idea. Okay, so, but since it's only a custom, says the Raman, the Shulchan Aruch, you know what he says? He says that because of that, if a person has even a small problem with his health, let's say a headache or his body doesn't feel good, he's got a cold, let's say, right? He's got a flu, all more so he has flu. All kinds of things like this, he's exempt from the Tanit, from the all the more so if he has something serious, like a serious kind of problem, he's definitely exempt from the Tanit, from the fasting. He doesn't have to make it up either, to do another one some other time. There's no reason to do that. Why is that? Because it's only a custom. So since it's only a custom, whoever can do it does it now, right? If you cannot do it, you're patur. That's it, right? So that's it. There's nothing to do anymore. There's no reason to. But the Chazal said that whoever is healthy and strong, and he doesn't do it, right? Kol haporetz gader yishachenu nachash. What does that mean? That the snake will bite him. Why is that? Because a person who's healthy and good, strong, there's no reason for him to exempt himself from the fast. There's no reason. A minhag is also considered to be something important for Jewish people. Minhag Yisrael Torahi. So this is the reason why we do the fast. But like all the other arbataniot that were done by the rabbis, rabbinical fasts that we have, excluding what? Excluding Yom Kippur, which is from the Torah. That's something else. These fasts are all from the rabbis, as we said. So therefore, we only do not from the night. The fast doesn't start in the evening. It starts in the morning. So we only fast, how much is that? We fast about 13 hours, something like that. Yeah, that's the idea. So it's not really such a long fast.
Why in Hanukkah we don't fast?
There is no kitrug over there. That's the reason why. Over here there's a kitrug. This is the reason why we do it. Every time we fast, that means that we need kapara for something. We need atonement for something,
But
otherwise, you wouldn't do it for no reason.
But what about those people that die? So many people died in Hanukkah.
It's true, people died, but you know what it is? That there's no kitrug over there in that time for something bad to happen, whatever. The rabbis knew exactly when the accusation is. And that they made at that time, you know why? Because these things can recur. It can come back again one more time. Again, it can happen something bad. Why is that? Because that day is muad de pur anut. It's like it's ordained for that some kind of a bad thing to happen. That's the idea, right? So therefore, we have no reason to fast for no reason. You know what they say, the Chazal, right? The Gemara says, whoever is not obligated to fast and he fasts, he's considered to be a sinner. Why is that? Because you're causing yourself pain for no reason. Why are you afflicting yourself? Why are you afflicting yourself? It's not good to afflict yourself for no reason. A person should eat good. Rav Shach used to say, one of the big rabbis of our generation. He used to say, eat good, sleep good, and learn good. Do everything good. That's the way life should be. There's no reason to go do all kinds of fasts and taniot and sigufim. To afflict yourself. Why to afflict yourself? For what? For no reason. There's no reason to do that. There's also the opinion of the Gemara, and also Rabbi Elazar Kapar, which is in Masechet Nazir. It says over there that whoever puts upon himself affliction by not eating a certain food, let's say he makes a neder, I won't eat any cake, or I won't eat any meat, like these people, these vegetarians, vegans, all kinds of things like this, right? If you're going to become vegetarian or vegan, do say beli neder, because why should you, afflict yourself like that, not to have meat all your life? There's no reason for that. So what we're saying is like this, right? That a person who afflicts himself, according to that Gemara, is considered to be a sinner. How does it choteh? Don't afflict yourself for no reason. If it's allowed for you to do it. That's why Hashem gave you. So that's the idea. Everything do it good. Make sure you have enough strength. So what's the problem? The problem is that when a person fasts and he's not obligated to fast, he cannot learn Torah, he cannot do his job, he cannot work, he cannot do melacha, he cannot do anything. He's like a miskin, he's like a paraplegic, can't do his job. So since it reduces the Torah, it reduces the melacha, so therefore we say, don't fast for no reason. Only do the fast, especially in our generation, that people are very weak physically. We're not strong like we used to be in the old days. So therefore, whatever they decreed, do it. Whatever they didn't decree, don't do anymore. Don't add anymore. In the old days, by the way, they used to have like something like this, where a person would do a certain avera. It says in Arizal. Let's say he went with a goya. He had relations with a goya, or he had relations with a married woman. So it says the Arizal that a person like that has to fast like 80 fasts, shmonim taniot, in order to atone for a sin. So nowadays, who can do 80 fasts? We're too weak for that. Who can do such a thing like that? So what do? We redeem it with tzedakah. We give tzedakah. We try to learn Torah more, to add Torah, to add mitzvot. And this way we redeem. But to fast like that for 80 days for us, it's going to be very, very difficult. So that's why we try to avoid it as much as possible. To fast for no reason.
When they say, let's say 80 days, how you do it 80 days? In Shabbat also?
You do Monday and Thursday, Sheni v'Chamishi.
For 80 days?
Two days a week.
For 80 days?
For 80 days, right, yeah. 80 taniot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's together, right? That's the idea.
Every week too.
Right, so but we don't do that nowadays. So what do? We give tzedakah to atone for the sin. How much should a person give? He should give the amount that it takes to eat, like a meal. Something like that.
Yeah.
And this is the idea. This is what we do. So we have to fast starting from the morning, right? And we finish in the evening, at dusk. So how many hours, as we said, it's about 13 hours. You have to start when? Nitzachama, the sunrise is about 6:30. 6:30, yes. 6:20. Right? 6:20 is about sunrise. Now the clock is going to go forward this week. So it's going to be 7:20. So therefore we have to start fasting about 6:10, 6:15. About that time, the person has to start fasting. 70 minutes before the sunrise. 72 minutes before sunrise. Start fasting that day on Monday, which is Monday, right? And then we have to fast until what? Until the sun goes down, and then another 20 minutes to add on top of it. That's the idea, right? That's the idea. Even though here in this neighborhood, in this area, the people do Ashkenazim, they do 40 minutes, 45 minutes. According to the Poskim, Maran Shulchan Aruch, and most of the Rishonim, and also the Achronim as well, they don't agree with this shita of 40 minutes. No such a thing like that. There's only two shitot, there's only two opinions regarding when the night comes. There's the opinion of the Gemonim, which is about 13 and a half minutes. So we do 20 because we have certain doubts about certain things. We round it off to 20. And there's Rabbeinu Tam, which is 72 minutes. So either you have this or that. There's nothing in the middle over there. There's no third shita. You don't have such a thing like that in halakha. So therefore, Maran Rabbi Ovadia used to tell us, no such thing like this in between something else. Either you do 20 minutes or you do 72 minutes, one or the other. Since the fast is derabanan, it's not from the Torah, so therefore we go lekula, we go lenient, and therefore we do 20 minutes only. That's the idea, right? So this is the way that we do the Sfardim. In every place, just about every place you go, the Sfardim we do 20 minutes only after the sun goes down. No reason to do any more than that since it's derabanan. But when it comes to Yom Kippur, since it's from the Torah, so if you're strong enough, they say, try to do like Rabbeinu Tam, 72 minutes. You know what I mean? Because it's from the Torah. It's something else. So make sure you have to go to the machmir side. You have to go to the stringent side. So therefore, a person has to fast at that time. But all the four things, all the four afflictions on Yom Kippur that we have to do, on these fasts we don't do. What does that mean? Not to wear leather shoes, right? We don't do that on this fast. No such thing like that. Or not to to bathe. We don't. No such thing. You're allowed to take a shower on Tanit Ester. We don't bathe on Yom Kippur, right? On Tanit Ester, you're allowed to bathe. Now, number 3, also regarding having relations with your wife, also you're allowed to have on Tanit Ester. Even though Yom Kippur is not allowed to do that, on Tanit Ester it's allowed, right? So all these 4 afflictions that we mentioned, you're allowed to do them on the Tanit Ester. That's the idea, right? On Yom Kippur, these things are not allowed to do. That's the idea. So it's light also in that sense as well. Also, by the way, if a person wants to smoke a cigarette, let's say, on Tanit Ester, there's no problem with that. Even though he's getting the taste of the cigarette in his mouth, so what? He's not eating. It's not called eating. You know what I mean? So if he's a smoker, on Tanit Ester he's allowed to smoke. That's the idea, right? So as you know, right, you can see that Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur is one thing, but these 4 Arba Taniyot is something else altogether. Yeah, for sure it's allowed. No question. Yeah, no question about it. Even on Yom Kippur we do something.
Yom Kippur also, I know some people they say no. Some people say yes.
This is a mistake. Ta'ud. Yeah, ta'ud. There's no such thing like that in Yom Kippur. Adrabah, it's a mitzvah to be me'arich hasamim. Why is that? Because a person, Yom Kippur is supposed to be a good day. It's not really a bad day. It's not Yom Avelut.
So you make the bracha also? And,
if it's something which needs a bracha, you have to make a bracha. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no question about it, right? But on Tisha B'Av we don't do. Why is that? Because Tisha B'Av is Avelut. That's something else, right? Since it's Avelut, it's morning, the Bet HaMikdash, so on Tisha B'Av we don't do V'samim. But Yom Kippur, because it's a happy day, Adrabah, right? So we should do. Why is it a happy day, Yom Kippur? Because the sins are being atoned for. What are you complaining about? You have something to complain about? Yeah, exactly. So what? Why should it be a sad day? It's a happy day, Adrabah. How do we know, by the way, Yom Kippur was a happy day? You know why? Because they used to, in the times of the Talmud, what they used to do in Yom Kippur? They used to dance. You ever hear about this?
Also, in the Zman of Bet HaMikdash, there was eating.
There was.
In Yom Kippur, בזמן בית המקדש שהיה קיים.
There was, when Shlomo Melech built the Bet HaMikdash, that time, only that time.
That year they eat.
But in general, they used to fast, right? They used to fast.
If that year they eat and it was really a happy day.
Yeah.
And Bet HaMikdash was קיים, why they don't continue with it?
Because that was only because of the Chanukot HaBayit, or inauguration of the Bet HaMikdash. The first time, that they used it, something very happy. Like, you go into a new house. So you have one day, where you're very happy. It's not every year like that, right? So the same thing over here. It's only one day, Chanukot HaBayit. That's the idea, right? So on Tisha B'Av, something else. Yom Kippur is something else. How do we know Tisha B'Av, Yom Kippur is a happy day? Because it says in the Gemara, Masechet Tanit, in the Mishnah, that they used to dance in Yom Kippur. What does that mean? The girls will come out and dance in the vineyards in order to find the shidduch, get hooked up with a husband. The men will come and the guys will come and look at them, and they would say, "Oh, this one is nice," So go to his parents and say, "Okay, I want this one." They will go, Chatzchob then sakmas. In times of the Talmud, it was like that.
In Yom Kippur, you mean?
Yom Kippur, wow. Can you imagine? Why is that? Because Yom Kippur is a happy day, So what's wrong with dancing on Yom Kippur? Something very good. You're doing it for shidduch also, for mitzvah. So they used to dance on Yom Kippur. That's what it says in the Mishnah over there. The Masechet Tanit, the last parak over there. Right. So that's the idea. So therefore, there's no problem to be happy on Yom Kippur. So on Tanit Ester, as we swear, all these arba inuim, we don't do these afflictions that they do on Yom Kippur. The extra afflictions, we don't do those things. That's the idea, right? Okay, very good. You got the idea more or less. Also, let's say if a person wants to brush his teeth on Tanit Ester, are you allowed to brush your teeth? So the answer is yes. Why is that? Because you're not swallowing that stuff, right? You're just putting it in your mouth to gargle it out, clean your teeth. So you're allowed to do. But one thing you have to be careful. It says in Shulchan Aruch that a person shouldn't put a lot of water in his mouth. Why? Because he may come to swallow it. So when you gargle out the toothpaste, don't put too much water in there. Like fill up your mouth with water. Yeah, not on Yom Kippur. I'm talking about Tanit Ester. Right, Tanit Ester, right? On Monday. So this is the idea. Just put a little bit, and spit it out, but don't put too much. So you shouldn't come to swallow it. But a little bit is okay. No problem.
But in Yom Kippur, you're not allowed to.
What, to brush your teeth? The truth is, on Yom Kippur, you should not do it unless it's something very important, something very pressing.
But if it's
Yeah.
a cheerful day,
Yeah.
happy day,
Yeah.
why should your breath stink? Why should you offend others?
You know what it is? Because they want us to get atonement. It's a day of atonement, so they told us to do 4 afflictions in order to get atonement. That's the idea, you know. It's not because it's sad. They just want to make sure we get the kapara. This is the idea, you know. Kaprat avidat.
זה גם צריך לעלות את הנפש.
אה?
לעלות את הגוף ואת הנפש.
Yeah, that's also true, but it's inui, right? Inui is kapara, you know. That's the idea. Yeah.
Which affliction category does not bathing and brushing fall in?
Because you're not happy like that, you know. You're not a happy camper. You know what I mean? That's the idea. It hurts. It afflicts your body.
הרגה ברזל.
You know.
הרגה ברזל.
It afflicts your body, you know, it's an affliction, you know. So those afflictions we don't do, as we said, and that's the way that Tanit Ester is. So once we finish Tanit Ester, we're going to have the Megillah reading right away, one after the other. So just to mention this, well, we mentioned already inside, but just to mention for the audience that it's not allowed to have a Seudah also after the Tanit Ester. Why is that? Because you have to wait until you read the Megillah. The Chazal said, first read the Megillah and then do Seudah. You know, because if you do Seudah first, you make forget it, you know, fall asleep, whatever, you know, or you may get drunk, you know, a little bit, drink too much, forget about it.
This you're talking about the next day.
We're talking about the night after Tanit Ester, right?
Yeah.
When it ends.
Yeah.
You have to read the Megillah, right?
Yes.
So since we have to read the Megillah, you have to wait, don't do the Seudah until you first read the Megillah.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right? So we gotta do the Seudah first, I'm sorry, the Megillah first, and then the Seudah. But you're allowed to have a little snack in order to strengthen yourself a little bit. Because all day you were in Tanit, you know? So it's hard to listen to the Megillah like that, or to read the Megillah like that. Very, very hard. So what can a person do? He can have a little candy bar, you know, a little bit fruit, you know, something, a little bit rice, allowed to have, you know? If he eats mezonot, so you can't have too much, you know? Yoter mikabetza asur. More than 50 grams you're not allowed to have mezonot, or bread, right? Less than 50 grams is allowed. Up to 50 grams, not more. That's the idea, right? So if you have like 2 cookies, it's okay, 2 small cookies, you know? That's alright, no problem. But don't have 4. That's already too much. That's the idea, right? So that's the idea. But you can have a candy bar, you can have something like that just to hold you over. And this way, once you hear the Megillah, it takes an hour or whatever it is, right? You go home, then you have a Seudah, like you should, right? Also, you're allowed to drink coffee, tea, water, whatever it is, right? You want to drink. Get some energy, wake up a little bit, you know, whatever. That's the idea. So after the Tanit is over, 20 minutes, once 20 minutes passes after Shkia, after the sun goes down, you're allowed to do all these things. But do it fast. You know why? Because the Megillah, they're going to start right away, Arvit. So if you eat now a big meal, whatever, that's the problem. You're going to forget about the Megillah. You know, so eat something small, you know, short. Chick-chack, you know. 1 second, let's go, you know. Go back in and do Arvit and do the Megillah. That's the idea, right? That's the way it works. Okay, you got the idea. So, just to get a little bit of taste of, right, what are we talking about? Why do we do the Purim holiday? What's the reason why? Because the Jewish people, as they say, right, there was a problem with the Jewish people. The problem was when they accepted the Torah on Har Sinai, they accepted really, right, this is, yeah, exactly. Now, this is, you know, goes back to what we talked about with Jimmy. Because Jimmy, you know, like he's talking about halakha, not, you know, he doesn't like to, you know, whatever, doesn't like it too much, whatever, right? So that's the whole idea. This is the reason why. This is the reason why we're Purim. What's the connection? What's the connection? The connection is like this, right? That when they accepted the Torah, the Jewish people, there was 2 parts of the Torah, right? Torah Sheba'al Peh, Torah Shebichtav. The written Torah and the oral Torah, you know what I mean? So the written Torah, the Jewish people accepted it with joy, you know? Na'aseh v'nishma. You know what I mean? Very good, we'll take it. And then we'll find out what's in there. You know, whatever's in there, we accept it. We don't have to see. We don't have to see right now. Take it anyway. So that's good. When it comes to Torah Sheba'al Peh, all of a sudden they came with the Gemara, you know, with the Midrashim, the Halachot, you know, this, you know. We started to say, whoa, what is this? This is Torah? We thought this was the Torah. You know what I mean? This is already too heavy for us, you know, Zimeh, you know. Too much Halachot, it's complicated, you know, I'm getting a headache from all this stuff, you know what I mean? What is this business? Too many details. Too much devotion it requires. You know, they said, oh man, you know, this we don't want that. So what HaKadosh Baruch Hu say to them? He turned over like the Har Sinai like this in the air. He told them, either you accept it, or it's just going to come down on you and bury you right here. You know, you're going to get buried alive. Bach. That's the idea. So Jewish people, what they did was they they accepted the oral Torah begrudgingly, like Jimmy, you know. That's the idea. That's the idea. It was begrudgingly. So what happened was that this was not forgotten. You know, this was not forgotten. What does that mean? That the Satan, you know, who's Mekatreg, he accuses the Jewish people. He said to Kadosh Baruch Hu. He said, you know, the Jewish people really never accepted the Torah Shabbat Peh, the oral Torah. They don't like halachot. They don't like halachot. So now, you know, they got a problem over here. You know, the Jewish people, they're kofar b'yariano, you know? Ebre lebio. Kofar b'yariano. Marto es Torah, quarto. Making like, you know, separation between this Torah and that Torah. So Satan said, you know, what is it? We should destroy them. Just like you said, you're going to put the mountain over them? Do it now. You know what I mean? They didn't accept the Torah Shabbat Peh, the oral Torah. So therefore came Haman, you know, in order to get the Jews to accept the oral Torah. That was the whole idea. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu send Haman? That the Jews should accept the Torah with Lev Shalem, with a full heart. This was the idea. So can you imagine? See, nothing gets tucked under the rug with the Jewish people. You understand? Everything gets paid. Yeah, of course, everything was the Torah. They say, by the way, that the ring, you know, the Achashverosh, they took off to give to Haman, to give him permission to exterminate the Jewish people. He says this was more effective than all the Nevi'im that prophesied, you know, for the Jewish people to bring them to Tshuva. They didn't listen to any of the prophets. But when he removed his ring to give it to Haman, they listened to that. You know, that's what it says in the Gemara, right?
That's
you know.
my exterminate. We don't have the Arab.
Chot Rebbe. That's the idea. So we see from here that this was the whole idea in order to accept the oral Torah. Halachot. You have to learn also halachot.
What
And
was
a person,
wrong with the oral
yeah.
Torah that they didn't want to accept? They
Too complicated, too heavy, you know, too heavy, you know?
Too heavy?
They want to have like an easy time, you know? Simple, keep it simple. You know, keep it, that's the idea. They don't want
Reading it is just as heavy.
Zimet Torah. They don't want Zimet Torah, you know? They want to read Chumash, you know? Read by Pasuk, you know? That's nice. They want to do Tehillim, you know, read Tehillim. They want to read, you know, Paftara. That's okay for them. But to learn halachot, halachot. That's a headache, you know? So they didn't want that. Too much, too heavy. That's the idea. You should know, by the way, you know, they were arguing, him and Jimmy, about this, right? So, what I'll explain to you. What he said was like this, right? Jimmy doesn't like to learn halachot so much, you know? He likes more Zaprev, you know? Skaskev, you know? So he told him, I don't like so much this, you know? So Shalom told him something good. He told him, we were here Tuesday, we had this discussion. So Shalom told him, you know, but the truth is, you know, that you have to learn halachot, otherwise you don't know what you're doing. You can do sins like that, you know? So Gadalis Adamiani. So halachat aritzis. You know what I mean? Ramdin Tzodav's Gadalis. That's what he told him. So you know what Jimmy answered him, right? Jimmy had an answer for that. What was the answer? The answer was that we learn in the morning, you know, every morning after Shachrit, 5 minutes, you know, we do. That's enough. Dayenu. That's the idea, right? So the truth is, you know, I didn't want to get involved with that because I was too busy preparing the class. But what's the answer to what he said? You know what the answer is? The answer is very simple. That when you learn halacha for 5 minutes like that, that's not really the halacha that we should be learning. That's not really the idea. You know what the idea is of halacha? That a person has to learn deep, you know? Learn what did the Rambam say, what did the Gemara say, what did the Rambam say, what did Rashi say, Tosfot, Rashba, you know, Ritva, you know, get into this. Kamatebi, you know, Chinachuloba, back and forth.
I have answer to you too.
Yeah.
My neighbor,
Yeah.
God rest his soul. Before he died, he said, I knew too much.
I knew too much. Tell Putin about that. Okay, so anyway, right, as we said, how does a person have to learn halakha? And this is exactly, where do we learn this from, by the way? The person has to learn halakha deep. Where do we see that? Because it says, right, when the Jewish people accepted the Torah, the 10 Commandments, right, it says, first of all, Kol Tomar LeBet Yaakov, and then Bnei Israel. So the Chazal say, Bet Yaakov and Bnei Israel. Why is it twice? It's the same thing. Yaakov, Israel, you know? So why does it say twice? So say the Chazal, that Bet Yaakov is talking about the ladies, the women. Bet Yaakov. That's why the schools of the ladies, we always call it Bet Yaakov.
Not Yaakov.
Right, Bet Yaakov. Bet Yaakov. We call the school of the ladies is called Bet Yaakov. But Bnei Israel is talking about the men. So say the Chazal that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu like this: the way you teach the men is not the way you teach the women. It's not the same thing.
Lord Ben Neri, from Lord
Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah.
That's what Ben Neri says.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Also,
sorry,
yeah,
yeah, of
that's
course,
why,
of course.
that.
Bet Yaakov,
So
you
there's
know.
the answer right there in the,
So-
in the saying is the answer.
So now, what's the idea? The idea is like this, right?
Ben.
The idea, yeah, of course. So it says like this, right? That the women have to teach like this. Teach them just the halachot, you know. This is allowed. This is not allowed. Zeh mutar, zeh asur. You know, everything. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. That's how you teach the ladies. Simple, you know. Keep it simple. Not too complicated. Not too deep. When it comes to the men, you have to teach them a different way, you know. The Rambam says like this. You know, Rashi says like this. Tosfot, Ritva, Rashba. The men are more, you know, they're capable of doing more in Torah than women. They have deeper understanding, you know. Yeah.
I don't agree.
Ah,
Trust me.
yeah.
Women are capable of understanding more than men.
Oh yeah, they understand, but not Talmud, not Talmud. You know, not Talmud. They don't understand so good. This is the idea. You know.
In the history,
Yeah.
there were women who were as good in Talmud as men.
One out of a million.
or two,
One out of a
yeah.
million. Yeah, that's it.
There was few of them.
Most of them. You're right. Absolutely. A few of them, yes, but most of them, no. Right? 95%, no.
My friend is Korean.
Yeah, yeah, of
Wife
course.
of Rabbi Meir. Brulia.
There's
Yeah,
a
of course, of course.
there's a couple of women car designers out there too.
So, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
a little bit off the track, but I read once, shall we listen to this? I read once, Pirkei Avot, which was printed before revolution even, in 18 something, in 19th century. And there was one paragraph which states that Jewish women who help with the child birth should not help going. Should not help going. And
Okay,
there
we'll
is-
get back to that some other
and
time.
no,
Bezrat
no,
Hashem.
and there
Yeah.
is explanation
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, of course there is, of course.
Because God forbid something goes wrong and she brings out the child of goy and something goes wrong
Yes.
and child dies, right there pogrom. Jews killed Christian child.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's why there was a whatchamacallit.
But getting back to what we said, Rabotai, that the Torah teaches us like this. The Chazal say you have to teach the men with depth in halacha. Teach them the Gemara. This one says like this. You write Abaye, Rava, Rabbi Yochanan, Resh Lakish. This one says like this. Why this one says like this? Why this one says like that? Is the halacha like this? Why is the halacha not like that? This is the way a person has to study the halacha. He has to go into the depths of all these things. This is the idea. The men have to go deep, you know. So what I'm telling you is like this. I told Jimmy also this. You know what I told him? I said, if you're learning halacha like this, right? This is mutar, this is asur. You're a woman. You know, kalichar. You're a woman because this is the woman's learning. This is the idea, you know. This is the way the women are supposed to do. This is the idea.
Rabbi, I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Shalom, let's organize some guys. I want you,
Yeah.
if you can, of course, it's possible with you, to have before Pesach couple of lectures about the Pesach.
We will. Bezrat Hashem. We will.
About Pesach Kashrut.
Of
what's
course.
allowed
Yeah.
for Pesach.
You were here last year. You remember we did it. Yeah. You remember. You were here.
Shalom, I learned in 10, 15 minutes him talking, I learned more than in 10 years in the shul.
Kam she'etzcha lo bit. Kam
I swear
she'etzcha lo
to
bit.
you. What's allowed, what's not allowed.
Bezrat Hashem.
why
You're
it's
absolutely
allowed,
right.
why it's not
Shalva, you're absolutely
good
right.
to know.
We have to do it. We have to do it.
allowed. Where am I sorry, Shalom?
He will be here, you know. Well, he will be here. He will be here.
I'll be definitely here. I'll definitely be here.
Bezrat Hashem. Kam she'etzcha lo bit. Okay, very good.
What are you coming for? You already know.
No, never enough. Believe me. Some things I forgot. I'm gonna write this down.
So what happened was like this, right? As we said, that the Jews didn't want this part of the Torah, you know. So the Purim, the whole idea was in order to get them to accept this part of the Torah as well. This was the whole
Which
idea.
part is that?
Torah, halacha, you know, Talmud, halacha, which is the hard part of the Torah, Znelia, you know. You have to use your head for that. It doesn't come so easy like that, you know. Chick check. It's not chick check. You have to learn. So that's the idea. So a person has to spend most of the time. I'll tell you, by the way, how far it goes. You should know that Khatam Sofer, he says, one of the big poskim, if a person has only 3 hours a day to learn Torah, not more than that, right? He only has 3 hours. Al-Ba'i, we have 3 hours in our generation, right? He should learn only halakha, he says, not anything else. Why is that? Because if you don't learn 3 hours a day halakha, you're not going to know the halakha. You're going to be amaretz all your life. You know, that's the idea. You know? So you see from there how important it is to know halacha. Okay, whatever. So getting back to what we said, that was the whole idea of Purim, to accept the Torah Shebal Peh, the oral Torah. This was the idea. So Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us all this fright and all this fear and all this trepidation and all this affliction on Purim, in order that we should accept the Torah willingly with a good heart, and this way, then Bezat Hashem. Yeah.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Why was not Amalek afraid of God? Why wasn't he afraid?
Why isn't he afraid?
Everybody around were afraid that they knew the miracles God performed for Jews.
Yeah.
And he still went and fought with us.
You know why? I'll tell you. There's a book by the Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Bulutzato, one of the big Mekubalim, of 300 years ago. So he writes that in this world there's Abba Tuma, the biggest Tuma, like people who are the most Tameh. So who is the biggest Tameh?
Amalek.
Esav is Avatuma. Esav Yario Avatuma. All has Tuma. Amalek Avi Avotatuma. He's even bigger than Esav. So Esav is the grandfather of Amalek, but Amalek is a super Tuma. So you know why that is? Why is Esav and Amalek so Tameh? The reason is because they go to the Satan. They're going to the power of Satan. They're connected with the Satan. So therefore, since they're connected to the Satan, they don't care about Hashem. They don't want to go with this way. You understand? To get the power from there, from the evil side. They say we don't need that. We have this side. It's That's the idea. That's why they don't care.
And yet, every time there was a check to annihilate them, Jews gave them escape.
Yeah, of course, that's the way it is.
Every time was just to annihilate them. Jews gave them escape. Why?
You know why? Because until the time is over, until Mashiach comes, there has to be both sides, the evil and the good. Once Mashiach comes, the evil side is going to be eliminated. You understand? That's the idea. The evil side goes, he's still alive. He's alive and kicking. So when is the Satan is going to be eliminated? When Mashiach comes.
He was also angel. He was an angel.
Yeah, but he's going to be eliminated. When Mashiach comes, there's going to be a big funeral for the Satan. That's the right? It's going to be finished. That's the idea, right? So until Satan's still alive, Amalek is also still alive. One goes with the other. Because this is shliachia, Satan is. You understand? They're the shliach of the Satan. That's the idea. This is the reason why one goes with the other, right? That's the whole idea. So anyway, to learn a little bit about Purim, right? The mitzvot of Purim, a little bit, right? To understand the mitzvot of Purim. So one of the things that we do before Purim starts, after Tanit Ester, we have to bring some money to the shul, right? Make sure you empty out your pockets. Bring some full pockets and empty out everything. Why is that? Because on Purim we have mitzvot to give money, on Purim, for all kinds of tzedakah, for all kinds of mitzvot. So the first one is zecher lemachasita shekel. That's the first one that we do.
Is it good to fill the pockets outside as an empty out at home?
I mean it as figuratively, So what we do is like this, right? We give what is zecher lemachasita shekel? This was something in the Bet HaMikdash. In times of the Bet HaMikdash, there was a mitzvah to give 1/2 shekel. Everybody had to give the same amount, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whatever you are. Everybody had to give the same. What's the reason why they gave this? Because
nobody can claim the ownership.
Right. You know why? Because they were using this money to do korbanot, to bring the sacrifices in the Bet HaMikdash. So everybody had a share in that. Everybody has a chelek. So this way, when they bring the korbanot to Bet HaMikdash, everybody's getting kapara from those korbanot. Because if you don't have a share in it, how are you going to get kapara? It doesn't belong to you, right? There's no ownership. There's no balut. So therefore, this is the reason why we have to give that. But now, since we don't have korbanot, we don't have Bet HaMikdash, so therefore we give a zecher, something which was a reminder of that, just a remembrance. So we give. The question is, how much do we have to give? This is a minhag, by the way. You should know. It's not obligation according to halacha to give zecher lemachasita shekel. It's a minhag. But nevertheless, everybody does it. It's a minhag Yisrael. Minhag Yisrael Torahi. But since it's a minhag only, so what we do is like this, right? We give it right before Purim starts, the Megillah. There's going to be over there some baskets, right? So busy, I was going to put everything over there. Nice, everything nice. And there's going to be places to put all the money. So, zecher lemachasita shekel, how much do you have to give in order to fulfill this mitzvah? You have to give the weight of 90 grams of silver. how much money that costs. 90 grams of silver, right?
Where's the computer? How much is it now?
So I checked it out before we started the class. Comes out to be about $5.50.
Total.
Yeah, total for each person in the family,
So
right?
$6 will do it.
Six for sure, yeah, six will do it for sure, right?
3,000.
Yeah, more than enough, right? More than enough. Insurance policy, right? Insurance policy as well. There are $6 will do it. So each one gives $6, $5.50, $6 for each family member.
But there's another question.
Yeah.
Where does this money has to go?
It goes to the Bet Knesset, or to yeshiva, for charity, these kinds of things. Rotzva, yeshiva, koleli, these kinds of things. Whatever your favorite charity is, right? Your favorite institution that you like to give. But I'm talking about Torah institution, not the secular institution. Some stadium, for soccer. We're not talking about that. Right? Some people like to give their tzedakah to build stadiums for soccer. This is not what tzedakah is for. Let the government do that. What's the business we have to do with that kind of stuff? So a person has to give to the right place, as you said. That's also true. But how much do we give? This is 90 grams, because you know what? Because a shekel was double that. It was 180 grams. It was a big coin. Not the shekel we have today, which is like this, tiny, like a little pea size. That shekel was a big coin, nice big one. So half a shekel was 90 grams. This is the idea. This is exactly why we give that much. So every year it fluctuates. It could go up according to the value of silver, because a shekel was made out of silver. This is the idea, right? This is why we do silver. We don't play with gold over here. Has nothing to do with gold.
Yes, says the golden cow, of course.
Okay.
Gold is kind of shady.
Okay, very good. I like that. Okay. So anyway, as we said, but there's also another opinion. If a person doesn't have, let's say, he's not so wealthy, he's a little bit, under the weather. You know what I mean? Not so wealthy, and he can't give that much. And also sometimes a person has a big family, 15 children he's got, 20 children. Some people have like that. Mea Shearim, in Bnei Brak, they have lots of children, right? Crown Heights, whatever. They have lots of children over there. So what happens is that they cannot afford. The family is not so rich. They're just barely making it to feed their children. You know what I mean? So they don't have so much money. So what do you do in a case like that? So what you do is like this, right? The Ramah says in Shulchan Aruch, you can give half a dollar. Why is that? Because since the whole minhag was to give half a shekel, so now we give according to the currency that we have in that country, which is $1 in this country, right? Over there it's a shekel. Wherever every country is a different currency, right? The lira sterling, whatever it is, right? All these kinds of things. According to where you live, you give half of that currency.
It's almost the same, 750.
I'm sorry.
50 cents by 15. Children and everybody.
Right. Yes.
But 56
Right, but if you would give $6 for each one, it would be like $100. You know what I mean?
This way gives them $10 will cover everything.
Exactly, right. So the idea is like this, right? That a person who doesn't have enough, he can do this way. Also, there's another way to split it. You know what it is? Some poskim say like this, that what you do is, for the adults, you give a big amount, $56, because they're adults, they're chayav. Because the truth is, according to halakha, the children are not obligated to give sechel matzah shekel. This is a minhag, whatever. So therefore they say, since the children are not obligated, what you do is, you let adults give the regular amount, and children will give a smaller amount, only half a dollar. So if a person cannot afford to give the whole amount, you can also split it up like this. Because anyway, the truth is, the poskim say that the children are not obligated to give this thing. It's only the adults, basically. You know why? Because when they gave the machazit shekel in the Beit HaMikdash, the children were patur. They were exempt. Under bar mitzvah, exempt. There's no obligation. So therefore here also, we can also say that we're exempt as well, right? That's the idea. So a person can play around with that according to his ability. That's what he does. This we do before we read the Megillah, and then we have also the other mitzvot of the Purim, which are also important, right? Let's talk about a little about the Seudah. Right? We have also this mitzvah to do one Seudah in Purim, at least one Seudah. People usually do 2 or 3, you know why? Because they do one at night, they do one in the morning, and they also do one in the afternoon. That's the idea, right? But the truth is that according to halakha, there's this mitzvah to do one Seudah. Right? But the one you do at night, say the poskim, you don't fulfill your obligation with that one. Only the one you do in the daytime. Right? David's going to take us out to... He's going to take us out on Purim, right? Right. The truth is, some people do also in the morning as well. Some people do in the morning. Yes. There are some Kabbalistim, that do in the morning also.
So this is after you reading the Megillah?
Right. They go and have breakfast, nice big breakfast,
so then
brunch.
You make the obligation of
That's it. Yeah. You can do that too. It depends on your schedule, how you want to schedule whatever. Some people like to do in the morning, especially when Purim falls on Erev Shabbat. It's on Friday, so then there's no time to do in the afternoon. You got to get ready for Shabbat. Same things like this. It's called shikulim. Some people like to do in the morning, but the point is you got to do at least one seudah, right? And it should be not the seudah pizza, of lasagna,
Basar,
right? Basar, yeah. It should be
Basar,
meat seudah, as you said, also with wine as well.
When on Purim evening,
לא.
In the daytime, the obligation.
לא,
Right.
גם אוכלים
Validan, yeah.
ולידן.
Yeah.
there's no disrupt.
Daytime Purim, Tuesday.
מורד דילה זה?
Not before?
לא.
Why not?
That's not the mitzvah. Why not? Good question. Right? The mitzvah is in the daytime. So the question is it obligated to eat bread for this seudah? The poskim say really not so much, Like on Yom Tov, there's obligation to have bread. There's also machloket in Yom Tov. But on Shabbat for sure it's obligation to eat bread. When it comes to Purim, it's not really an obligation to have bread, but it's good. Good. Davar tov. It's a good thing to have bread also. Some people like to skip on the bread. They just like to have some Chinese food, have some rice and meat, whatever. That's okay. On Purim, it's okay.
Meat with the wine, but if you are not putting
Yeah.
bread, it's okay.
It's okay, but it's good to have bread too, If you like it, if you enjoy it. Right, exactly. Right. We Georgians, we always have bread. Right. That's the best way to do it, obviously. Right. That's for sure. But so as we said, the seudah has to be done in the daytime. So this seudah, it's a very special thing. It's a very big simcha. But the mitzvah over there is also not only have meat, but also there's a mitzvah to drink. Kargat dalios. Kargat. Georgian style. Georgian style.
Wasted or still have
Wasted. We're talking about wasted, right? I'll explain to you what that means. How does that work?
I'm dangerous when I'm wasted.
Yeah, that's right. Right, that's the idea. If you're dangerous, that's the idea. Right? We have to talk about that. Discuss that, right? What that means. So the Gemara says like this in Masechet Megillah, right? That a person chayav inish lebesume bepuria ad delo yada ben right arur Haman vebaruch Mordechai. So what does that mean? He has to get so wasted, like you said, he has to get so drunk. There's no difference between Mordechai and Haman, Which one is blessed, which one is cursed? You know what I mean? Like really.
You love both.
Exactly. That's the idea. Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. That's the idea, right? If you can love everybody, that you get to that level where you love everybody, you can't even see the difference anymore between, this guy and that guy. It's all the same. They're all good. Everybody's
I'd
good.
rather to live with friends. That's why I don't kill nobody.
That's the idea, right? So it says this halakha in the Gemara like this. By the way, we don't find that any other time in the Torah. It's a mitzvah to get drunk. Only on Purim, we find this mitzvah. We don't find it any other time. No such a thing like that. So,
Yeah, everywhere is a limit, like
of course,
Pesach for
4 cups, right? That's the idea. So why is it? What's the whole idea here? In order to understand a little bit more, right? It says also in the Gemara after that one time Rabbi and Rabbi Zera, they had a seudah. Rabbi invited Rabbi Zera to a seudah, right? 2 rabbis, One invited the other one. So what happened was it says Kam Rava v'shachte de Rabbi Zera. What does that mean? That Rabbi got up and he cut the throat of Rabbi Zera. Died centraso. He cut his throat. Can you imagine? Tachra. You think you're crazy, right? But this guy, Tachra. Keri.
Okay, but if he
I'll explain to you what happened. I'll tell you exactly what happened, right? I'll tell you. I want to keep you in suspense a little bit. It's like a suspense thriller. Okay, so I'll explain to you this. There's a lot of interesting things about that. So anyway, what happened was that he cut his neck, Daucha. So what happened was that he was going to die. When you cut somebody's neck, he's finished. That's it. He's not going to come back. So what happened was that he prayed for him. Ilotza. He prayed for him and he got healed. It was a miracle was made. It was a miracle. So what happened was that next year Rava invites him again. To come to the Seudah. Next year invited him again. Can you imagine? After he cut him, now he invites him again. Kita modio, next year. So it tells him, it says, not every day the miracle is performed. It says, thanks a lot, but this year I'll stay by myself. I'll stay with my family. Thank you, thanks, but no thanks. He tells him like this, right? He got scared, get that dump gonna cut me again, this guy, Not every time it's gonna be a miracle. This is the idea, right? So the question is like this, right? First it tells you the halacha the Gemara like this, you're obligated to get drunk, and then it gives you the story after that. So what are you supposed to learn from that? There's different ways that the poskim learn this Gemara, but the best way to learn is like this, exactly like what you said. What does that mean? Depends on the person. If you take your drinks well, if you tolerate drinking, you don't get crazy altogether, just get happy, start singing, some dancing, hugging, kissing. That's good.
Drink.
Very good drink. Right. If you're good like that, very good drink. But if you get like this, you get violent. You can get violent. Cutting somebody. Don't drink. You're not allowed to drink. That's the idea, right? Depends on the person. You have to know who you are. You have to know what you are.
100%.
You know what I mean? Each person according to his right.
Yourself.
Exactly.
Which side you stay.
Exactly. You know what you are. Nobody knows you like you. You know yourself the best. That's the idea. So it really depends on the person. You understand? This is the idea. Another interesting thing is like this, right? That Rava, right? Now ask a question to yourself. How did he cut Rabbi Zera like this? Gagish does. He went crazy. What happened? These are two big rabbis. You know what I mean? These are not some business rabbis. This is like big chachamim. Big Emoraim. Big people. These people are like angels. How did he get up and cut his friend like this? What happened over here? It's terrible. What? You know what I mean? This is like something. It sounds crazy, Two rabbis. Can you imagine? I tell you, Can you imagine? What would you say? You know what I mean? What would you say about that? He's funny. He's funny, right? Can you imagine? So what happened with Rava? You have to be careful. That's the idea. Oh God, you guys are funny. Okay, so what happened with Rava over here? So in order to understand what happened to Rava, you have to look in a different Gemara. You know where it is? This Gemara is in Masechet Shabbat. Different place. This Gemara is in Masechet Megillah. This one is in Masechet Shabbat. It says over there in the Masechet Shabbat, there are people who are born under the constellation of Mars. Ma'adim. So whoever is born under that constellation with that mazal, he's a murderer. He's a bloodshedder.
Under which one?
Ma'adim, Mars.
Mars?
Yeah, Mars.
God of war. In Greek mythology, he was a god of war. Mars.
Yeah. So Mars is a planet which symbolizes bloodshed. That's why it's red. It's Italy, That's the idea, right? You know that, right? So this is the idea. So whoever is born under that constellation, there are certain hours. There are certain hours of the day of the week where that constellation rules. If you are born in that constellation, you are going to be also like that. Right? It's a mazal. Sheni mazalia. This is the idea, So what happened was that Rava was born under that mazal. He was also a killer. You understand? When you're born under that mazal, doesn't matter whether you're a rabbi or whatever you are. You're a killer.
But there is another way to deal with it.
Yes.
There is a book from Georgian writer, Nodal Gumbadze.
Oh.
And in that book, novel, there's a moment the guy tells friend about his neighbor's son. So when the kid was like 5 years old, he put the dent, gunpowder, in his grandfather's pipe.
Yeah.
So grandfather was the finger.
Oh.
What they do? They spunk him a little. Okay.
I got you.
Then he did something. Now, when time to come to go to university, his father spent a ton of money to put him into economic university, to learn economy. On the first grade, he injured with a knife 2 fellow students. Okay, what did his father do? He put him in a medical institution, in the medical school.
To be a surgeon. Yes. Absolutely. Exactly what you're saying is true. What does that mean? The Chazal say, right? Depends. Also, this person, okay, he's a bloodsheder. This guy, he's going to shed blood. But the question is, how he's going to shed blood, right? It says if he's a tzaddik, he's going to be mohel. To do brit milah, Also, that draws blood.
Or become a surgeon.
If he's benoni, if he's a middle guy, not to tzaddik, not to rasha, in the middle, he's going to be shochet. If he's a rasha, he's going to be listim, gangster. Mafia guy, right? Exactly, that's the idea. Right? Depends on what level he's on. But nevertheless, what happens is like this, right? Rava, what happened was that when Rava heard this Gemara, the rabbi said, if you are born under this mazal, you're going to be a killer. So Rava told them, he said, I was born under this mazal, I never killed anybody. At that time, he never cut anybody. It was earlier than that. You understand? It was before that. So I never killed anybody. So you know what they answered? They said, but you also do kill people. You know why? Because you have a sharp mouth, and you know how to, insult them when you have to insult them.
Right.
You're very sharp. You know how to rebuke everybody. You kill them with your mouth.
Manam danam ovida enam.
Very good, very good. That's the idea. So at that time, that's what happened, right? But then later on, Rava he almost killed Rabbi Zera. You understand? So what do we see from there? That a person who was born on this kind of mazal of badim, he should not drink, never drink, right? What does that mean? If he is a normal state, especially if it's a chacham, he's not going to kill anybody like that, because his mind is ruling. Once you get drunk, you lose your mind. Your mind gets lost. So then anything can happen. You understand? This is the idea. So therefore, a person has to know himself, as we said. If you know that you have this kind of nature, don't mess around. No, you gotta. It's okay. It's when there's a class, better not to say shalom anyway. It's better not to say shalom. Right, we're learning Torah. So now the idea is like that. So therefore, the person has to know himself, in order to understand. But if you know that you're good with drinking, drink. Baruch Hashem, it's a mitzvah, whatever. There are some poskim who say it's enough to drink a little bit more than you usually do. Let's say, for instance, let's say on a holiday you usually have like 2 or 3. So have one more than that, and that's already enough on Purim. But the truth is that according to the Kabbalah, Kabbalah says you should have to go all the way. Like if you're able to do it, go all the way. I personally, to be honest with you, can drink like 1 bottle of wine. I have no problem with that. I can, I'm not going to drive after that, but I fall asleep. That's the Mechila.
Whoever cannot drink, I can teach him. I learned from one Russian.
Yeah.
His friend comes to him. Listen, every time we drink, you go home normal, and I get into trouble. Teach me how you drinking. He goes, okay, buy half a liter vodka. Oh, he buys.
Yeah.
He puts 5 glasses, fills them up, 100 grams each, exactly. Takes first one and last one and throws them out. You're crazy, what you doing? Listen to me. First always does not go too good. Last one you don't need.
Okay. So as we said about Tai, this is the idea. So a person, if he has a little bit more than he usually has, according to many poskim, he fulfills the obligation. That's a little bit more. One more than you usually drink. That's the idea, right? And you did Purim good. You did good Purim. So then, how do you get to the point where Adelo Yada, right? Ben Baruch Mordechai, Zaruch Aru Haman. If you don't even know the difference between Mordechai and Haman, how do you get to a level like that? So they say you go to sleep and then you don't know the difference between this and that. Chadzina, when he's sleeping, he's a good guy, right? Everybody's a good guy when he's sleeping, right? That's the idea. So when he falls asleep, that's the way they explain this Gemara. There's also a way to explain it a different way. There's all kinds of ways to explain it, but the idea is know yourself and do what you have to do, right? But the point is like this about that. Whatever you do, obviously you should know, right? That once you drink 2 or 3 drinks, don't drive. Go with your car and go somewhere. Let somebody else drive. Designated driver. Let the ladies drive. You know what I mean? The ladies should drive.
Quran is very good about the drinking.
Ah.
They have a comparison between drinking and animals. You have 1 cup, you feel like you're eagle. You have 2, you feel like a peacock. You drink 3, you're becoming a monkey.
Oh. They're all monkeys, Ishmael. They're all monkeys. They're all monkeys.
You become a donkey. You drink 5, you become a pig.
That's what they are, all of them. Even though they're not drinking.
They're not allowed to drink.
Yeah, that's what the rules are.
They're not allowed to drink. Yeah.
So let me
That's
tell you
why
guys
they're
something
such
interesting, right?
miserable people.
What about the ladies, by the way? Are they also have mitzvah to drink on Yom Purim? That's the question, right?
No.
What about the ladies, right?
No.
So what's the answer? The answer, even it doesn't say in the Gemara that the ladies should drink or not, but there's a different Gemara which says something about that. You know what it says about in the Gemara? It says that if you have a lady in general, right? This is the way it works. If you give her 1 drink to drink, she gets happy and nice and jovial and nice and happy. If you give her 2, she's already ready to do some go with some man, do some sin. If you give her 3, You should always go to some animal even, some animal. You understand? So what does that mean? You see from there that a woman shouldn't drink too much, One is good enough for a woman. They should never get drunk like that, because once a woman, drinks too much, she can go already into things which she's going to regret the next day. If you know what I mean, right?
It depends on the woman.
You should know, by the way, that there's two stories about this, which happened, I know. Because I heard from the rabbis, Chachamim. My rabbi, when he was in the Bet Din over there, in Yerushalayim and Tel Aviv, there was cases that were coming over there. You know what was coming? What happened was that they would go to Meron, for Lag BaOmer. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's grave over there. They used to go like in groups, groups. Mishpacha, cousins, uncles, this, that, together in one tent. Make a tent over there, make a barbecue. Bring some over there, drinks also, everything, get drunk, whatever. So what happened was that the ladies also were there with them, you understand? So many times happened, several times, that the ladies would drink, and then she would have relations with some other man. Her husband was there, can you imagine? In front of everybody. And there, what happened was they had to get divorced, because, once she goes with a different man, they cannot go back together anymore. You understand? So there was cases like this that happened in Israel. So can you imagine how bad it can get? That a woman who drinks too much, she can cheat on her husband right in front of her husband. That's how it can be. You understand? This is the idea. So therefore, the women, that's why we say, right, the women are definitely not obligated to drink on Purim. If they want to drink, let them have one, that's good enough, One nice glass of wine, they're going to be happy, it's going to be jovial. They don't have a mitzvah to drink, one bottle of wine, like we're doing, things like this, right? That's already too much. Also, another thing which is also good to know is that even though there's a mitzvah to drink on Purim, but the mitzvah is really with wine, not with other alcohol, right? Other liquors. You know why? What's the difference between other liquors and wine? They all get you drunk, right? So what difference does it make? The amount. Yeah, okay, you're right. But let's say you drink the same amount, right? Ratio is the same, let's say, right? So then which one should you be drinking? Wine or vodka or,
Wine, because vodka is like, if you drink same amount of vodka as you drink wine.
Doesn't have to be same amount. Let's say you drink small. You drink a smaller amount, let's say, right? So which one is really better? So the poskim say, the truth is, right, that for the mitzvah Purim, the mitzvah is with wine, really. Not with other liquors. Even though on Shabbat you can drink any liquor you want, or Yom Tov, you take a shot of this or that. It's very good. I'm very happy with that. But when it comes to Purim, the mitzvah is dafka with wine. What's the reason why? Because it says in the Chazal, they say, Yain mesameach. The only one which gives you simcha is wine, joy. The other ones get you drunk, but they don't give you joy. Even the people don't realize that sometimes. This is something which is known by the Chazal, by the Chachamim. So therefore, the mitzvah is dafka to drink wine. And also, I see, by the way, that the ones who drink the hard liquor, they wind up throwing up and all kinds of things. Yeah.
I used to drink wine. I could have tolerated a lot.
You're a Georgian. You're a real Georgian.
About 5 liters. I drink about 5 liters.
Okay.
No, really, I did. And I was half of my size. But now,
yeah.
Small portion of good cognac.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Nothing more. That's it.
Cognac is also derived from wine. You know that, right? It's derived from wine. It's also from grapes.
Alcohol made from wine.
Yeah, it's made from wine. Yeah. Just make sure it's kosher.
Yeah, of course. If vodka is from grain and whiskey is also from other grain, cognac is wine. That's why we cannot have cognac non-kosher. Any vodka is kosher, except the Pesach.
You're right.
And whiskey, same thing.
Absolutely.
Cognac, that's the
needs
problem
texture,
with
right?
cognac.
Yes.
It's made from wine.
He's right.
Wine was not kosher,
You know that, Shalom, right? You know that.
Yeah, I know, but vodka with all kind of favorite.
Usually it's kosher.
That's
Usually it's kosher.
That's chemical, Shalom. It's not like...
It's not real, yeah. Even if it was real, it's okay anyway.
Let's say, your vodka lemon, vodka
It's okay.
watermelon.
It's
And by
lemon or something. It's chemical.
Usually there's no problem with that. Usually.
They have formula, biochemistry has a formula, would give smell to anything.
Oh,
So
there you go.
A little and that's it. You get
He's
the
right.
flavor. It's not real raspberry or real lemon.
very good. Shalva, you brought us a lot of wisdom today. Shalva, you brought us a lot of wisdom. God bless you. He also brings us a lot of good food. On Shabbat, we got good food from you. Now we're also getting your wisdom as well. Okay, that's right. But it came to me also.
Thank God.
Okay. So anyway, as we said about time, we have the seudah to do. So what does a person do? Once you finish the seudah, usually, if you're really drunk, you fall asleep a little bit, and then they're going to have arvit a little bit later. If you can get up for arvit, very good. If you couldn't get up for arvit, So if you get up at home,
You
say it at
forgive
home.
them.
Okay,
You
say it
forgive
at
them.
home. If you had a hangover, couldn't
You
stay.
know what it just
That's the
reminded
idea.
me of, Rabbi?
Yeah.
Did you see the movie Fiddler on the Roof?
I don't think so.
Watch, it's a very good movie. It's about
Yeah,
Judaism,
yeah,
it's about Jewish
yeah.
life.
I know.
It's a very good movie. There's a moment when they start to dance,
Yeah,
and Rabbi goes that listen, everybody start. Well, the husband wants to dance with the fiancé, wants to dance with his fiancée. They touch their hands, and everybody starts screaming, "Hi, bye!" And the guy, even though he was a radical socialist, he was a learned man. He knew Torah well. So he goes to Rabbi, ask Rabbi. It's not forbidden.
yeah.
They go to Rabbi, and Rabbi is like, it's not exactly forbidden, but as soon as he said it's not exactly forbidden, it's not forbidden. That's it. Shalom.
We also have mitzvah mishloach manot, as we talked
Yeah,
about inside, right?
Sunday
Mishloach
gifts.
manot. We said 2 types of food, at least 2 types. If you want to give more, you can give more, right? Kol mosif, mosifim lo. That's the idea. We have 2 types of food. We give to one person, one Jewish, right? One of your Jewish fellow Jews. That's the idea. Why do we do this? To have friendship, camaraderie amongst the Jews. That's the reason why we do it. There should be love amongst us. Achdut. You know why? Because when the Jews are united as one heart, as one mind, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. He saves us from everybody. All the enemies, we save from them. If we have unity, nobody can get us. Understand? That's why there's so many problems in Israel, because they're fighting with each other. This one doesn't want to go with this one doesn't go with this one. Sinat Chinam. This is the reason why they won't sit with this guy. He won't sit with this guy. What is this? He won't sit with this guy. What is he? He has a plague. What is he? What is that? Why don't you want to sit with him? This is crazy. This is very bad. Already 3rd elections, and same thing came out. Nothing. 0. Because of sinat chinam, because of hatred. So that's why we at Purim we try to increase love between the Jewish people. Exactly. To make achdut, to make unity, to make love, to make respect. This is the idea. This is the reason why we do mishloach manot. So every person is obligated to send at least 2 types of food to his fellow Jew, and he's fulfills his obligation.
Sinat Chinam always exists,
Yeah.
and everything. Most of the people oblige it, but once they're in danger, that's when they unite.
That's true. But sometimes it's too late. That's the problem. Understand?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little bit too late. They have to unite before the danger comes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hashem should help us. What can I
By
tell
the
you?
way, I'm sorry, Rabbi, it's on YouTube, by the way, if you like, of course. I spoke to 2 guys, the Rabbi, Parvanashvili, and Kutsov. They are in for the barbecue. You're invited.
When is that going to be?
Most probably after Pesach, so weather is nice, we can sit outside and enjoy it. I think after
Let us know. We'll keep us. Thanks for the invite. Okay, so as we said, Rabotai, we have mishloach manot.
It's going to be whole lamb rotisserie,
Very good, nice.
but not the whole lamb though.
Well, I know how you do.
We can do the whole lamb, fry it, and then do the
Nikur.
Very good.
Yeah, but to be safe, what we thought about is we're gonna buy 2 fronts. I'm gonna tie them up together. It's gonna be 2 lamb with 2 heads.
Very
So
good.
we're gonna fry the.
Okay, very good. We trust you. We know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. So anyway, as we said about Thai, we have also a mitzvah of matanot levyonim. You have to give to 2 poor people.
Wants to chip in. No.
Very good. You have to give to 2 poor people, at least each one $5, about something like that. If you find somebody who's that poor that he doesn't have money to eat seudah, he doesn't have money for the barbecue, like kind of thing. So if he doesn't have money, you can give him a gift, and this is also matanot levyonim. This is also one of the biggest mitzvot of Purim.
Has
To
to
give.
be a Jew?
Yeah, of course, it has to be a Jew. You're not allowed to give the tzedakah to a goy. So you have to give matanot levyonim to 2 poor people, $5 each. If a person doesn't have enough to give that much, he can give whatever he can give. At least a quarter. Give something.
We're not allowed
That's
to
counts
send
as
them out to a
Mahak
boy in
Shekel,
general.
We talked about that. Yeah, we had a lecture on that one time, if you remember.
2 people, $5 each.
Yeah, in general, not allowed to give. There are certain cases where you are, but in general, you should not.
What are the certain cases?
We'll talk about that some other time. With Hashem. I just want to get finish these mitzvot. Yeah.
Couple of times I saw in my building on staircase some homeless guy sleeping.
Yeah.
He comes at night, sleeps, and then he leaves.
Yeah.
I had an idea, but then I said I better ask Rabbi. It was Friday, we had Shabbat dinner, so I said maybe I'll collect some food and give it to him, maybe he's hungry, whatever. Is it allowed on Shabbat or
It's a goy or a Jew?
goy?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Let the goy take care of it. Let the Puerto Ricans take care of it. Puerto Rican
He's a
Mawarot.
human, come on.
What can you do? That's the halakha. What can I tell you? It may not be pleasant for you to hear, but this is the halakha. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. One day we'll do a lecture on that maybe. We'll talk about that more. Talk about that more to understand this whole thing. One time we talked about it. Maybe I can find an old lecture and repost it again. Whatever. I'll try to whatever. So we have the Matzot Rabbi Yonim, where we have to hear the Megillah twice. Once at night, we have to hear once in the daytime. That's the idea, right? So very important to come to the Bet Knesset. Don't just sit home, and watch over there all kinds of videos. Come and hear the Megillah, First to hear the Megillah one time at night, one time at daytime. You have to hear the whole thing from beginning to end, every word. So don't come late, in the middle, Come in the middle. It's already too late if you come in the middle. You have to hear everything.
I don't read Hebrew.
Yeah.
I don't know how
So the rabbi reads for you. That's the idea,
I have Megillah,
Yeah.
which has Russian transliteration.
Right.
Hebrew words written with Russian.
Yes.
Does it count for me?
It doesn't count. You know what?
I sit here, I read with together.
Right. You have to hear. You have to hear
I
him.
hear it and I just follow with
Yeah,
my
you
eyes.
follow. Yeah, you follow. No problem. We all do that. Everybody does that. But you have to hear from the person who has a kosher Megillah. Understand? This is the way it is. So you have to hear the Megillah twice. You understand? Make sure you come to the Megillah twice. This is the most important mitzvah of the Purim, by the way, the Megillah, to hear the Megillah. If you didn't do that, you really haven't. Why is that? Because we have to know the story of what happened to our forefathers, how they escaped over there, how the HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved them. This is the whole idea of Purim,
It's on paper.
Yeah.
It has Hebrew, Russian transliteration, and translation.
Yes.
So I understand perfectly.
That's very good. You should have one like that. The truth is, as we said, right, a lot of people also buy kosher one as well. They buy kosher one. In Israel, everybody has one of those. A lot of people have them. So that's the idea. So we have to do that mitzvah as well. We have the Matanot Rabbi Yonim. As we said, right, we mentioned the Seudah. We mentioned, we'll cover whatever we cover, we can cover, we covered, right? More or less. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen, amen. Chazak Baruch. Have a great holiday. Blessed holiday for you and